Hi everybody, David Trungill here from TraderTours.com/golf. We are looking at the swing of Tony Finau, and the film credit goes to Golf Swing HD. So this is fascinating. Here's a guy who is driving the ball beyond the PGA Tour average with a very compact swing. And I wanted to talk about this, talk about the trade-off, do a little cost-benefit analysis, because what's fascinating, I want to show you a clip in a moment after I talk a little bit about this from golf.com, where Tony decided to make his swing a little bit longer, and he altered his pivot, and he was hitting the ball 40 yards farther. Like, we're talking Bryson DeChambeau numbers, Cameron Champ numbers. So anyways, a couple of things here. So let's just watch the swing. As he goes back, what we would call P4 is the top of the backswing. Now, P3 is when the left arm is parallel. So the distance between P3 and P4 for him is almost insignificant. That's the top of the swing right here. So the hands are low. Now, I would prefer low hands versus high hands, personally, when I teach. Just because if your hands are up here, your hands are connected to your arms. So if you look at his left arm, anyone like a Dustin Johnson or someone that has higher hands, it's inevitable that your arms would be way up in the air. And the problem is, when your arms are high, your hands are high, it's just easier to make mistakes. So I think you'll be more consistent with a compact swing, but you will hit the ball farther, right, if you lift the club more. Just note that there are diminishing returns on distance. Now, what might be a bit more vital or relevant is the pivot he's making. So check this angle out here. So if we rewind the tape and just watch what he's doing, he's not loading as much into his right side as you see with most players. So when you make a pivot like this, you know, this isn't stack and tilt, but on the same token, it's going to be hard to make the athletic weight shift, which obviously he'll make one, but I'm just saying that the amount of space here between the yellow line and this red line here is not as much as you will see with some of the all-time great players. Now, clearly Tony's a brilliant player, right? Top 20 in the world on the PGA Tour. Certainly doesn't need my advice. I'm just exploring some ideas and just, you know, talking about things theoretically. So, I mean, check this out, 172-yard par 3, and with this short of a swing and this type of pivot, just based on experience, I can tell that this club face, it's either a pitching wedge or a 9-iron. So just scary how far this guy can hit the ball. And a lot of good stuff in the swing. Again, watch this move. I've talked about it if you watch my other videos. The right elbow is going to emerge underneath the left arm. There it is. So he's externally rotating the right shoulder, driving the right elbow in front of the body. A lot of great stuff. Beautiful impact position. But nonetheless, let me show you guys this other clip where he's just mashing the ball with the driver. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned the words cost-benefit analysis, so I was just using this as an analogy. So what do I mean by that? Well, in this video here from golf.com, when Tony was adding some range to his swing and making a pivot more to the right, which I actually like, the cost would be you might potentially compromise accuracy when your hands are higher. But the benefit is that if you're hitting the ball 40 yards farther, imagine how much closer your second shot will be into a par 4. I mean, having a flip wedge in from 80 yards or 70 yards is going to be, I think, more ideal, even if you're on in the semi-rough, versus being in the middle of the fairway, being 120 out. You're just going to hit it closer to the hole and have a better statistical chance of making birdie. Now, even here, though, check this out. I mean, this doesn't seem like a disconnected swing to me. His arms are still together. The club is still shy of parallel, and that's the top of his swing. So again, his swing is so incredibly compact that in his mind, a full swing is really normal to me. I mean, this is comparable to, let's say, a Tiger Woods in 04 through 07 when he was working with Hank Haney. Tiger won a multitude of majors then. And also, this proves a point that when you load right, so here's that pivot. I really like this look right here better, in my opinion. I know, obviously, Tony doesn't know me or care what I have to say. This is just my thoughts for fun. But this proves a point that at the top of the swing, even though he's loading more right here, he's actually swaying off the ball a little bit less than when he was making that centered pivot. So this debunks the myth that if you load right, you're going to sway off the ball more. That's not necessarily the case. It's about how the pelvis moves and where the hips are aligned, and there's more to it than that. So if someone loaded like to the outside of the right foot and swayed off the ball, that's one thing, but he's not doing that here. And furthermore, check out this weight shift. So with the driver, the PGA guys do not have as much of a lateral advancement than they do with their irons, but here, this is quite a bit. And this is more than the last clip we just studied with the iron. So anyway, and then of course they changed the camera angle, and so I can't really say too much more. But anyway, I think this is really cool. So to summarize and close this out, I was reading an article, and Tony said the main reason he doesn't really, have his arms higher or make this type of pivot is his concern for loss of control. Well, I don't think he would lose control if, this is just one idea, let's say he took the club back and he stopped where he normally did, which is basically just beyond P3. Like, this is essentially the top of his backswing normally, right? So let's say he kept the length of his swing identical and he just simply pivoted more into his right side. That would automatically add some distance. And again, if you're hitting the ball farther, you could always elect to tee off with a hybrid or a 3-wood if you're worried about missing fairways. But just some food for thought, interesting discussion. I'm not Tony's coach. Who am I, right? I'm not here to be critical. I think he's an awesome player. Seems like a really good guy. And I'd love to see him win some majors. So anyway, there's Tony Finau. Thank you so much for watching. Check out tradertours.com/golf.